Good morning, my boys. Yesterday, I gave introduction to the poet. I told something about John Masefield, his life and his literary works. Today, before beginning the poem, we shall discuss about the theme and the title of the poem's Sea Fever. Sea Fever is perhaps the most well-known work of John Masefield, most well-known work, and describes the poet's longing to go to the sea. It expresses the poet's great desire to go to the sea and to make a voyage. But try to try to notice that the poem begins with I. That means it is beginning with the first person. But despite its first person poetic voice, the principal theme of wanderlust that is described in this poem is identified with by many person and any person. বুঝতে পারলি? কবিতাটা শুরু হয়েছে আই দিয়ে, মানে ফার্স্ট পার্সন দিয়ে। কিন্তু ফার্স্ট পার্সন দিয়ে শুরু হলে কি হবে? এই কবিতার যেটা থিম, সেটা কিন্তু কবির ব্যক্তিগত কথা নয় শুধু। একটা কবিতা তখনই মহৎ কবিতা হয় যখন সেটা কবির ব্যক্তিগত অনুভূতি ছাড়িয়ে সকলের অনুভূতির কথা বলে, অন্তত বেশিরভাগের অনুভূতিকে ছুঁতে পারে। When it can touch everybody's emotion and feeling. Here, the poem begins with the first person, that is I, but it transcends the speaker and can be identified with by any person. Masefield here effortlessly demonstrates his love for and affinity with a lifestyle depicted in the poem. The poem describes a definite lifestyle, a lifestyle that is something different from that we are acquainted with. আমরা যে জীবন যাপনটার সঙ্গে পরিচিত, এই কবিতাটা তার থেকে একটু অন্যরকম জীবন যাপনের কথা বলে। Though we may identify the poem's theme as the desire to go to the sea, the theme of the poem, the principal message of the poem is the desire for voyage, the desire to go to the sea. But it also deals with the very human yearning to connect with one of the most powerful natural forces on earth. Sea is one of the most powerful natural sources on earth. And every human being always tries to connect with the infinity, with the most powerful force on this planet. You know, আমি আগের একদিন তোদের বলেছিলাম যে আকাশের সঙ্গে নিজেকে মিলিয়ে দেওয়ার একটা চেষ্টা, একটা ডিজায়ার মানুষের মধ্যে সবসময় আছে। Here also, sea is something like the sky. It is seemingly, at least, also infinite. So, everybody wants to be a part of that infinity, and that desire is described here in this poem. A hugely common theme in poetry, the sea has always been a fascinating source of inspiration for the poets in all ages. You know, sea has played a great role in literature, especially in poetry, in all ages. I can just remember just now another poem, that is Wanderthirst, written by Gerald Lewis Gold. And the theme of that very poem has very close proximity with this poem. That is also telling us something something adventurous that we can lead, the life that we can lead on the seas. Okay, Musfield here demonstrates an obvious adoration for this wild and beautiful entity. Here he describes his life in the seas, and it expresses an adoration for this wild and beautiful thing that is the sea. Okay, while you are going through this poem, just try to understand, just try to notice, my boys, that it is a poem that is written in a very simple language. It is a lyrical poem. It is a lyrical poem written in a very simple language. এটাকে বলে লিরিক্যাল কবিতা, এবং এটা খুব সহজ সরল ভাষায় লেখা। শুধু সহজ সরল ভাষাতেই লেখা তা নয়, it is not only written in very simple language, it does not want to attempt to describe something very, very highly philosophical that we sometimes have in Wanderthirst that I have told you just some time before. While reading, you will certainly notice that the poem has 3 stanzas, and you have to try to understand, try to notice the formation of the stanzas. It has 3 stanzas. You can notice easily. It has 3 stanzas, and each of the stanzas, all the stanzas are similar in structure. Each of the stanzas is a quatrain. Each stanza is a quatrain. What is quatrain? Quatrain is a part of a poem that has 4 lines. A part of a poem having 4 lines is called quatrain. In this poem, in each of the stanzas, there are 4 lines. You can see while reading the poem. So the stanza, each of the stanzas has a quatrain, and this quatrain, a ekakta quatrain, is divided into 2 rhymed couplets. Now you have to know what rhymed couplet is. 2 consecutive lines having rhymed with each other is called rhymed couplet. যখন পরপর কবিতার 2টো লাইন পরস্পরের সঙ্গে অন্তমিল ছন্দ করে, তখন তাকে বলা হয় রাইমড কাপলেট বা রাইমিং কাপলেট। যেমন ধর, কুমোর পাড়ার গরুর গাড়ি, বোঝাই করা কলসি হাঁড়ি। এই যে গাড়ি হাঁড়ি মিলে গেল, এই দুটোকে একত্রে বলা হয় দ্যাট ইজ রাইমড কাপলেট বা রাইমিং কাপলেট। Here you can find the stanzas are 3 in the poem, and each of the stanzas is a quatrain. It has 4 lines, and the 4 lines are divided. Each quatrain is divided into 2 rhyming couplets, and in each stanza you can find the same rhyme scheme. প্রতিটা স্ট্যান্জা একটা করে কোয়াট্রেন, 4টে লাইনের একটা ইউনিট, আর প্রতিটা স্ট্যান্জায় 2টো করে রাইমড কাপলেট আছে। সো এটা হচ্ছে কবিতার ফরমেশন, এটা কিন্তু খেয়াল করতে হবে। There is another aspect of the poem. What is that? The first line of each stanza begin with the same clause. All the stanzas begin with the same clause. What is the clause? I must go down to the seas again. দেখার চেষ্টা কর, প্রতিটা স্ট্যান্জা শুরু হয়েছে I must go down to the seas again. ওকে, এইখানে একটা কথা একটু বলার আছে, তার আগে একটুখানি বলে নিই। So each of the stanzas, every stanza begins with, of course, begins with, so every stanza begins with the same clause. I must go down to the seas again. You can find easily all the stanzas begin with the same clause and it is followed by a prepositional phrase. Just try to understand what I am saying. I must go down to the seas again. তারপরে দেখ টু দ্য লোনলি সি অ্যান্ড দ্য স্কাই, তার মানে দ্য লোনলি সি অ্যান্ড দ্য স্কাই আগের ক্লজটার সঙ্গে কানেক্টেড হচ্ছে টু প্রিপোজিশন দিয়ে। পরের স্ট্যান্জায় দেখ I must go down to the seas again for the call of the running tide. The call of the running tide এই অংশটা আগের ক্লজটার সঙ্গে সম্পর্কিত হচ্ছে ফর প্রিপোজিশন দিয়ে। এবার থার্ড স্ট্যান্জায় দেখ I must go down to the seas again to the vagrant gypsy life. The vagrant gypsy life এই ফ্রেজটা আগের ক্লজটার সাথে কানেক্টেড হচ্ছে টু প্রিপোজিশন দিয়ে। তার মানে কি দাঁড়াচ্ছে each of the stanzas begins with the same clause followed by a prepositional phrase. Try to understand the formation. Okay, this poem was published in 1902. In 1902 1902 সালে এই কবিতাটা প্রথম প্রকাশিত হয়েছিল। And in that publication, very interesting, in that publication the title was hyphenated. It was hyphenated. There was a hyphen, you know hyphen? There was a hyphen between sea and fever. So when it has a hyphen it becomes a compound word. But in the following publication, following edition, the title was a bit changed. It lost its hyphen and it became a nominal compound. Now sea fever, this title is a nominal compound, but if you use a hyphen between these two words it will become a compound word. Do you understand? This is in the present condition this title is a nominal compound because there are two nouns here and the first noun is being used as an adjective to the following, that is the second noun. There was another thing in the first publication. Here you find in the first clause that the stanzas begin with I must go down to the seas again. But in the first publication there was no go. There was no go. Initially the poet did not use the word go in the first clause. So in the first edition, in the first publication, initially the clause was I must down to the seas again. Subsequently, somehow the poet thought that there should be a go and that is why he used I must go down to the seas again. So there is an addition of the verb go in the subsequent edition, but in the initial publication the clause was I must down to the seas again. Okay, so বোঝা গেল ব্যাপারটা। এই কবিতাটা 1902 সালে পাবলিশড হয়। এই কবিতাটার সঙ্গে জেরাল্ড লুইস গোল্ডের ওয়ান্ডার থার্স্ট কবিতার ভাবগত মিল আছে, কিন্তু ওয়ান্ডার থার্স্ট আরও বেশি ফিলোসফিক্যাল। এটাতে এতটা ফিলোসফিক্যালভাবে কবি কিছু বলেননি। তিনি মূলত একটা লাইফস্টাইলের কথা বলেছেন, যে লাইফস্টাইলটা আমাদের চেনা লাইফস্টাইল থেকে খানিকটা অন্যরকম। And that lifestyle is in the seas, on board. Okay, do you understand my voice? And first publication sea fever টাইটেলটার ক্ষেত্রে একটা হাইফেন ছিল, it was hyphenated. তো যখনই আমরা দুটো ওয়ার্ডের মাঝখানে হাইফেন দেব it will become a compound word, তখনই এটা একটা কম্পাউন্ড ওয়ার্ড হয়ে যাবে। পরবর্তী এডিশনে তিনি এই হাইফেনটা বাদ দিয়ে দেন। সি ফিভার পরপর দুটো ওয়ার্ড ব্যবহৃত হয় এবং যার ফলে এটা আর কম্পাউন্ড ওয়ার্ড থাকে না। নাও ইট বিকামস আ নমিনাল কম্পাউন্ড। Now come to the title itself. Sea fever. We all know the meaning of the word sea and also the meaning of fever. Sea জানি, fever জানি, কিন্তু সমুদ্র জ্বর কথাটা কেমন অদ্ভুত লাগছে না শুনতে। It sounds very strange, very queer. That is fever. We know fever, it is a physical condition of being ill with the temperature of the body higher than usual. But what about the sea fever? How is the fever related to sea? Fever কি করে sea এর সঙ্গে সম্পর্কিত হয়? That is the point. Mind it. Try to understand what I am saying. Here fever does not mean the physical condition of having temperature higher than usual. You know, in very high fever, sometimes patients feel a bit delirious. Patients become delirious. Delirious, it has come from delirium. Delirium means a physical state that makes a mental change also in the condition, a physical and mental condition in which a person, a patient becomes obsessed with something special and he loses the consciousness about his vicinity, about his surroundings. Okay? Here, fever means a very strong emotion, a very strong urge that makes the poet forget everything around and works in him like madness, and that is why he cannot resist himself from going to the sea. So here the title Sea Fever means an irresistible urge for making a voyage, for going to the seas again and again. Do you understand? The next day we shall start reading the poem. Goodbye.